The information, products, and claims presented in this video and on any related websites or materials have not been evaluated by any official regulatory body. They are intended for informational and educational purposes only and are not meant to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your health or wellness routine.
All righty. Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to the Life Reawakened show. We are here with the lovely Karina Grant. Karina, say hello so everybody can see you.
Hi, everybody. It is so great to be here. I always love being with you all.
Awesome. We love having you here. And so, welcome, everybody. Karina and I were just talking about how fast this month is going already. It's March 10th. It's flying by, and the temperature is actually going to be awesome here today, and the sun is going to be shining. So I just can't wait. Even though we changed the clocks, it's all good. Last night, I think it was light till almost 8 o'clock. It was like, oh, that feels so much better. So, welcome everybody. I see hands raised. You guys are on top of it. Karina will be talking to you guys later in the call, so you can hit the react button or the more button. Raise your hand, get in line. So, officially, welcome to the call here today with Karina. So, most of you probably know Karina. She's one of our community's favorite speakers. So, but for those of you that don't know her, let me introduce her to you. Karina was born in 1977 and attended her first Louise Hay style breathwork seminar at the age of 12. When her father was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2005, she searched for ways to help her systems and discovered energy healing and quantum touch after seeing the immediate effect the treatment had on his posture, which straightened completely in just one session. She became a healing practitioner and has helped thousands of people around the world since then. In 2007, Karina was invited to become England's advanced instructor for quantum touch and has instructed many large workshops internationally. Karina is able to perceive energy clearly, which is incredibly useful when helping others. Karina has spent 17 years teaching energy healing to both medical and complementary healthcare professionals. Her workshops are attended by doctors, nurses, public health advisors, research scientists, CEOs, parents, carers, charities, teachers, and a variety of other backgrounds. She has also enjoyed teaching meditation in large corporations and has trained people from the World Health Organization and other prestigious organizations. Karina has been invited to teach wellness and mindfulness sessions at global corporations and also at the British government's Department of Energy and Climate Change. She is hugely passionate about teaching in charities and nonprofit organizations. Karina is also delighted to have launched permissioning and transformation workshops in Europe. Due to the success of this program with nurses, it now counts towards CPD points for nurses and midwives. This set of techniques has been used highly effectively for insomnia and anxiety, and Karina taught these techniques to many key workers during the first lockdown. Additionally, to support people during the COVID isolation crisis, Karina launched the High Chi Mindfulness phone line to give people without smartphones access to High Chi app meditations for free. Karina is also a bioenergy healing practitioner, Reiki practitioner, is fluent in many energy healing techniques, and graduated from Tony Robbins Business Mastery University in 2001. It is Karina's utmost belief that anything is possible and that even the most severe of conditions can be overcome and at the very least managed well. Energy healing is in her opinion, the fastest and most powerful way to facilitate recovery and wellness. And today we're talking about the healing uplevel switch, reprogram the healing set point hidden in your nervous system and thrive at every age. So, Karina, officially welcome to the call today.
Thank you so much. And thank you for that very warm and welcoming introduction. And also from everybody else as well. I can feel the energy of the group, and it's so lovely.
Oh, awesome. So I want to start with, because I feel like the nervous system is one of those systems that we don't talk about often, but you're very passionate about it. And I would like to kind of start with, what when your nervous system is, I guess, not working properly. Like, what does that mean? Is it just nerve pain? Not just, but like when I think of nervous system, I think of nerve pain, right? So is it that, or are there more things that are regulated? Like, what all is it regulating and how is it impacting us?
Okay, great question. So from my perspective, giving our attention and healing to the nervous system is very preventative. It's a prevention, and also for a lot of people, it's a cure for a lot of things. And I just want to start by telling you how I had that kind of big aha moment, and I think it will help you to answer that question.
Okay.
So, years ago, I spoke with a carer who had spent decades looking after people who were really unwell. And she had an incredible understanding of the body, so much so that when the doctors would come to visit their patient, they would think this carer was a doctor, but she wasn't. She just really understood the body very, very well. And when her mother got unexpectedly sick, she had to take a couple of weeks off work. And I spoke to her afterwards and I said, how did you cope with that? You know, I know how close you are to your mom. How did you deal with that? And she said to me, oh, I took Valium for a whole week. And I said, wow, that's quite extreme. And also, you understand how addictive that is. And you know that the risks. How come you did that? And she said to me, because I know that if my nervous system goes completely out of whack, which happens after a trauma, and this was a big trauma for me, and I felt like I was going out of control. I felt like I was spiraling from 0 to 100. And I knew that if I didn't get that in check, that would be it. And this would all overtake me and I wouldn't be able to go back to work. And I said to her, that's so interesting. And she said, yeah, that's what I've observed over the years of looking after people, is how much the nervous system after a shock can literally trigger so many symptoms for people. And I needed to get mine in check quickly. And I thought, wow, it's a really unconventional approach. It's not something I would recommend or something I would do, but I understood her point. It was like this massive penny drop for me of, oh, wow, I get it. I really got what she was saying. And I thought, okay, her logic is impeccable here. And I suddenly saw with absolute clarity how many of people's mysterious sudden onset symptoms started to begin. And so I thought, let me just dive into this. And so when I would get clients with unexplained physical symptoms, I thought, let me just start by addressing the nervous system. I want to see how far this goes, this whole approach. And that was the beginning for me of how I explored the HUS system, which we're talking about today. And I just found it extraordinary, all the things I was discovering. But the biggest thing that I discovered along the way was people would have profound healing just by simply shifting the energetic system from I am unsafe to I am safe.
Oh,
And
interesting.
that shift alone, move it, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said that's interesting.
Really, really profoundly interesting. So our nervous system is basically a physical, it will express itself physically how we feel emotionally inside, and it will express itself physically in the body. And so I would say the core thing, the core question, if I could say, what would the nervous system want to tell me? What would the question be? It would say, is this moment safe? Is it loving? Or do I need to leave? Now, sometimes it might be, I need to leave the building or this environment or this relationship. But if that's not possible, what we tend to do is leave our body. And so we will just disassociate and we will jump out of the body. And so being able to address this can be a prevention, because the nervous system is so linked to, our baseline of immunity and many different physical symptoms, but it's also a cure for a lot of people, because the foundation, as far as I'm concerned, the number one thing of all healing is addressing the nervous system. It's the foundation. And it's also, in my opinion, if you know how to work with it very specifically, it's the most underrated form of healing. it sounds like kind of basic, but it's actually the complete foundation. And if you know how to point very specifically towards the trauma that rocked it in the first place, profound healing will occur. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And so you're saying that the nervous system is the foundation. It really, once that foundation, like when that's calmed down, when that's taken care of, then other healing can occur from that. Is that what you're saying?
Definitely. I tell you, one of the most astounding and immediate examples I've had of that was with a client called Sarah, who messaged me she was on her way to the emergency room in the hospital because she had sudden onset of hearing loss. And she'd been a client for a little bit, and I knew a bit of her background. I also knew that her mother had passed away a few years earlier, and she'd never really kind of rebalanced from that, and it had really rocked her nervous system. And she'd messaged me and said she had literally experienced sudden hearing loss, and she was on her way back for a second appointment, that day in the hospital. And the first appointment, they'd measured her, and they wanted to see her again. And my instinct was, this isn't her ears. There isn't an issue with her ears. She has jumped out of her body. Something has over-triggered her. She has jumped out of her body in a panic, and her senses, in this case her hearing, was absolutely tilted with it. And so I worked on her nervous system. And that was the first thing I did, is I used techniques to, let's gently bring her back into her body and make her body feel like a space that she is safe to stay in, and stop jumping out. Because what happened is first she jumped out, and then she freaked out, and now you've got this panic,
Right.
going along with the symptom. And so as I helped her to ground and come back into her body, her hearing returned. And her doctor was flabbergasted. She sent me a message with this wording that said, don't take the steroids I prescribed you. I cannot explain what on earth has happened, why your hearing's just come back, but I wish you a great day. And so we were both blown away. But that for me was like, wow, this is way bigger than we give it credit for. The nervous system is it's the core structure of our home, our own internal home. And when the foundations are rocked through trauma, it tilts everything else out of alignment. But balancing the nervous system in a very targeted way, it can be the switch that really speeds up physical healing and resets us with a feeling of peace. And all of those experiences, and I've got story after story after story that really drove me to create this healing up level switch, because I could just see this is really overlooked. This is a really overlooked way of healing. And so I created a very specific way to work with it, which we talk more about.
So I'm here seeing a couple of people say that they're having a hard time hearing you. Can you turn your mic up by chance?
Yep, just bear with me.
Yep.
Okay, maybe whilst I do that, you can.
If you don't know how, I just click on the little arrow by the mic, and then what do I do? Audio settings.
Yep. Okay.
And then
audio settings.
Yeah, and then I have my input volume the whole way up, and my output.
Okay.
There you go.
Is that better? Is that better, everybody?
Yep.
Is that loud enough? Okay.
Yes. Very, very good.
Okay. Thanks, Gretchen, for that bit of technical support.
I had to figure it out because there was one time when everybody's like, I can't hear you, Gretchen, but I can hear the other person. So I just turn them both way up, and then then whoever's listening can adjust however. So very good.
Oh, I'm so relieved. I hope everybody did you all hear what I said? Did you get the essence of it?
I think so. Some people said they had to turn it way up, so I think they got it. Yep.
All right, good.
My follow-up question to that is, so I'm assuming that the the nervous system, like like we're humans, we have trauma throughout our like it's all the time, right? But so if it doesn't get cleared or your nervous system doesn't reset after that first trauma, and then we have trauma after trauma after trauma, like I'm sure it's building, I think I saw Marion say, she's been stuck in fight and flight her entire, like, for years, like just been stuck in that. So does that is that fight and flight kind of mode, I'm sure, is contributing to the nervous system not regulating and working properly at all, I would imagine.
100%. 100%. You'd be amazed at how many things follow on from that. Even our ability to learn, to take new information in, to retain new information, to digest our food properly. It's like, I want to jump ahead, but this is how I see it in my head. If you are doing other kinds of healing and you have really beautiful results with different things and you enjoy the high frequencies, it's kind of like a house and you're just observing this lovely art on the walls and it makes you feel really good. But then you start walking afterwards and the floor is still really bumpy and it's still really uneven and unbalanced. So you trip up and you're like, you can't keep looking at those beautiful art on the walls because your floor is so uneven. So
Yeah.
the nervous system, addressing the nervous system is like, okay, I'm going to stabilize the floor. I need to first balance the foundation of my home, my internal home first. And then other things can take hold much, much more gracefully, and then things last much more as well. It's the baseline. It's the foundation.
Yeah.
It's really important.
That description is so vivid. Like I completely get what you're saying. Like it makes so much sense. And so my next question to that is we are stuck in such a world right now that just feels so like it's trauma after like if you take that in, like we can all choose, right? Like we have free will, but it just feels like every everything is traumatizing, and I'm sorry, I blame social media. Like we are just it is, Linda, it's so chaotic, it's hysteria, and it's you can feel it when you are looking at stuff, like you can feel your own, which is the I would imagine such a disservice that you can do for your body and your nervous system by like taking all of that in. So I mean, I'm not sure how, and even if this goes along with what we're talking about, but it feels very aligned that we're kind of putting ourselves in positions where we're re-traumatizing ourselves day after day after day by jumping into that kind of vortex of chaos, if that makes sense.
So much sense, so much sense. I'm laughing because it's off the back of what we were talking about before about kids today, and we all have our inner child that social media basically, and screens and digital and all of that and the world. So yes, we are permanently being exposed to things on a wider level that we were not built really to, be exposed to. And so you've got a case of what I think it's so important to have a tool or a practice or something to keep resetting. You've got to keep doing it and doing it and doing it, because otherwise what happens is, and feel free to write in the chat if you can relate, you become very overreactive to small things. Small things feel like big things, even though logically they're not, but your nervous system goes into like a, just on a small thing.
Yes.
Because it's so, like Marion's saying, it's like oversensitive, it's overreactive. That's when I've observed lots of symptoms come in that are overreactive for people after a trauma. For example, the client I mentioned before, she had temporary hearing loss. But I've had the other way around with clients where they will suddenly have, I know you pronounce it tinnitus, we say tinnitus, but, sudden ear ringing and all kinds of the senses just become completely dysregulated. And even walking into a shopping center and seeing bright lights can feel invasive because everybody's system is overtaxed, is overstretched. And you see it in kids now. It's really, you know, I've got one client, his name is Adam, and he's 10. And obviously I think everybody on the call is over 10 years old, but you know, we've all got our inner child within us. We've got our inner 10-year-olds that, you know, is experiencing some of the things that Adam is. And anyway, his mum got in touch because she said he's got all kinds of stomach issues, and also that plays a part for him socially, and he's got gut imbalances. He's already on medications, especially for constipation. And so I thought, oh, this just feels like such a nervous system thing. It really does. He feels completely dysregulated. And so I started to apply the HUS frequencies, the formula of the healing Uplevel switch for his nervous system and this combination. And so in this case, I've got the oxytocin, the love hormone, which really promotes a healthy gut-brain connection. And then the GABA, which calms his nervous system. Let's just calm. And then the serotonin. Now, 90% of it is made in the gut. So no wonder his mood, you know, was affected. And so by bringing these frequencies together, a lot of healing pathways really opened up for him. And then targeting this at his specific trauma. And the beauty is I didn't even need to know what his trauma was, and he didn't even need to be consciously aware of it. And what's happened for him is now he's on the lowest dose he's been on.
Wow.
You know, he's young to be on this type of medication, but he's now at the lowest level. And you have all probably heard me say before, well, if you can get to a 2, you can get to a 1, and if you get to 1, you get to 0. And I think that the same with the medication. You know, now I said to his mom, you're on this tiny dose, we can just gently, gradually move them, you know, move it. So that is definitely what you said. It's this overtaxed, overstretched nervous system, and suddenly you've got symptoms, and by addressing the symptom, yes, you'll get relief, and yes, the person will feel different, but we got to address the floorboards. We've got to stabilize the floor so that everything else, any healing you do or any supplementation you take, anything that sits on a stable nervous system will hold more, you know, because you've come back home, you're there.
Yeah.
You know, you're actually there to receive it. Yeah.
That makes so much sense. So much sense. And so as you're talking, it was like, I think the whole world would need this because like, I just wonder how different it would be if everybody's nervous systems were kind of regulated and reset. And because it's, you know, it's just so fascinating. You and I were talking about this because, you know, and all of you here were probably a lot different than kids these days, right? Like we grew up, like I was outside from the time the sun went up to the sun went down. Like that's just how you played. Like you just did kid things. And it's so different today because it is the screens. Like they're stuck in that. And you know, like if you think about it, this is totally off topic, but it's important because I think it sets a baseline of, you know, like if you think about it, like they're playing these like shoot 'em up games, right? That are all trauma based, right? Like they might not feel it, but like what is it doing, you know? And so like I bring that then to us as adults because, you know, we have the social media thing and, you know, I see people yelling at people they don't know and getting triggered and just getting and I'm like, why are you wasting your energy on somebody you don't even like, you wouldn't even know if you hit them with a truck who they were. Like, you know, like, why? So we're stuck in this. So I wonder if in this world, if nervous system was regulated and we weren't in this hyper vigilant kind of wet place all the time, if we would be so triggered all of the time with what strangers are saying that we have no idea who they are. So it's just an interesting, like I've never really thought about how impactful it is in all, whether it's your health, whether it's your emotional well-being, whether it's your relationships, right? Like it's all of it. Like it plays such an important role. And I never really thought about it before. So thanks for bringing it to my attention, because now all the light bulbs are kind of going off for me.
Yeah, completely. I love those examples you just gave. And you do see it around you. People are overreactive. And then it makes the people who are peaceful really stand out. You notice them, you
Yeah.
can really feel their energy.
Yeah, totally. So you describe this as a switch, kind of like a turning on this switch. So talk to me a little bit about how that works and what it actually does when you work through this.
Okay, so one of the things that's quite challenging for people, if you're in the middle of something chronically stressful, is trying to generate those loving hormones, trying to generate the oxytocin and the GABA and the serotonin and get that going, or even have the urge to do the things that will stimulate that naturally. Because when you're in chronic stress, usually you go into a tunnel vision and all you can focus on is now, and you're in survival and you can only really focus on that stress. And often for people, when the stress is over, they're still there. And so getting those loving, beautiful hormones frequencies flowing is much, much more of a strain for them. And so they're still in, I am unsafe. And
Mm,
I realized really early on that the key here, it's a combination of keys, but weaving through all those frequencies has to be, and not just on the physical level. For me, this is a spiritual thing as well. It is moving from I am unsafe to I am safe. And that's not just in the brain, it's not just turning off the fight or flight. For me personally, the way I see it and the way I've seen it with clients is it's a spiritual thing as well. It's the ability to surrender and say, I don't need to do this all myself. I can
mhm.
give it up. And that is a huge part of it as well. And I wanted to bring that in as well to the frequencies and that into the switch as well. And it isn't, to me, this is universal wide formula, because it doesn't just work with grown-ups, and I've worked with kids, but recently I had a client that is an 11-year-old dog, and I
Oh,
thought, let me apply this as well. And the dog mummy got in touch with me. The dog's name is Lotus, and her mum got in touch and said, in a panic, Lotus has got pancreatic cancer, and we have been told by the vet to start saying goodbyes. Is there anything you can do for her? And she's not eaten for a long time, and all the rest of it. And so I thought, well, let's just bring in the HUS for her, and let's weave in the I am safe. I really want Lotus to, above all, just to feel held and safe and all of the rest of it. And so we had a couple of sessions, and then I get a message from Lotus's dog mummy, and she says, wow, she has started eating again. We have been sent home with medications, but we were told we were saying goodbye. And now she started eating, and they had to get a boat. They live on an island. They had to get a boat to the vet. Now we've been put on the boat to go home with her. This is absolutely miraculous. We thought
wow.
this was a dream, and thought, what actually happened here? What happened? Did she come back into her body because she felt safe to? It's so
Um,
powerful, just the shift from
oh,
feeling unsafe to safe. And also at the same time, bringing all those hormones in so that the healing can get to the place. It's like people get frozen in fear, and you kind of sending all those frequencies in of that specific combination directly to the trauma, and a lot happens. A lot of energy starts to transform.
that's so cool. I got chills, because it was like, I mean, and you don't think, I guess, of animals, and the feeling of safe and coming into your body, but apparently it's for all of us. And I know that we've talked about it, several times, on calls. And with you, Karina, I know that you've done like safety processes with us, allowing us. And it, I mean, I think that there's so many things that like are in front of you that you pay attention to, right? Like if you're feeling pain, you feel it. If you don't feel well, you feel it. If you're agitated, you feel it. But the idea of feeling safe and coming into your body is not something like that is always in your mind, right? Like it's just not something that's always there. But obviously, it has such an impact on healing in that foundation. And I've never heard somebody explain it in that way. Like, how can the healing take if you're up here and your body's down here? So, like, it really makes so much sense. So much sense.
Yeah.
So you have a process that you were going to take our group through. I think it might be fun to experience that now while we're kind of talking about it. And then we can talk to callers. How's that?
Yeah, sounds fantastic. Okay, so everybody ready? All right, wonderful. I can feel everybody's smile, so it's such a lovely energy on the call. Thank you. All right, so I would love us all to bathe in these HUS frequencies, and we're going to target the vagus nerve quite directly, and you're going to feel that settling feeling through the nervous system. So you're going to get a lovely, lovely taste of it. And I'd just like to start by asking you to feel your feet on the floor. Let's just start by getting a little bit of earth connection. That's nice. And all we're doing is simply becoming aware of the earth beneath our feet and just soften into the chair or the bed or the sofa. And you don't need to know where it is. The intention is enough. What I would like you to do is just to simply close your eyes and receive without thinking of any specific place in the body. And we are going to just turn on the HUS, the healing up level switch frequencies. That's it. That's lovely. I'm getting a sense of people just starting to let go. You don't need to do a thing, and that's part of the awareness of the frequencies. So you don't need to do a thing. That's it. And you start to feel a bit more weighted in your body, really feel where you're meeting the chair. Getting a sense of some people who are literally being like wrapped like in cotton wool with this frequency. I can see that happening. I can see it happening around somebody's hand. I don't know if there's anybody on the call. I can see it literally happening around somebody's fingers, all four fingers together, like there is an injury somewhere on this call of somebody being taken care of with these frequencies. So just kick back and enjoy and get a sense of the breath coming down into the belly for people. Shoulders are dropping. Yep. You can just be. That's it. Getting a sense of some people's ears are clearing, like popping, tension in the jaw is dissolving for some people. You can sense all these things happening, but I'm going to be quiet for a couple of minutes so you can just feel uninterrupted frequency. And you're probably feeling more alertness as the mind is clearing. I'm sensing clearer sinuses, but also clarity of mind. And when clarity of mind comes, there's more physical energy. The two go hand in hand. And it's energetic reminder that it's not us. We don't need to do it all. Let it be done. You might feel yourself feeling a bit more sturdy and stable. Embodied. And when you're ready, just open your eyes.
Awesome. How you guys doing? I'd love to hear. Marion says she can't stop yawning. Carrie, I don't think you got dropped from the call. It was just silent while Karina was doing her work. I would love to hear how you guys are doing as you come back. I see hearts going. I see Monique says less pain. Awesome. Big yawns, Rhonda says. I feel much calmer. You can just feel everything kind of calming down. Linda says, didn't wish to come back. Yawning from iPhone 2, calmer. Andrea says, beautiful. I wanted to stay with this. That seems to be a popular response. Sylvia says, I have an injured thumb. I couldn't stop yawning. Very long and deep yawns to the point my eyes were watery. Nice. Noreen felt it around her heart. Someone says more grounded. Melissa, calming. Amy, calmer. Clearer vision, someone says. Really cool. Wow, relaxed. Good job. Interesting. I started to fall asleep, Laura says. Sarah says calmer and energy moving in my head. Wow, good. Very, very good. So you guys are all noticing some big shifts there. Nice. I have a couple questions here before we take live callers. Someone wrote in, let me find it, not in the chat, in the Q&A. Oh, so someone was asking, do you use quantum touch techniques for this, or is it a different protocol? And I guess my follow-up question to that, after you answer it, is, are you able to see kind of where the trauma is stuck in the body and release it that way? Is my follow-up question to that.
Okay, so this is a unique program. It isn't quantum touch. It is my own kind of combination of frequencies that I've put together. And it's called, the program itself is the HUS, the Healing Uplevel Switch. So it is a completely separate thing to quantum touch. So that's one question. And then the other, to answer the other question, is the way that I have worked with these frequencies is that it will go itself. It will be magnetized to where the trauma is holding, and it will go there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the frequencies that are sent, because it's audios, right? So, and we'll go over the program in a little bit, but just to get clear, it's audios, and the frequencies, are those the hormones, like the serotonin, like those kind of frequencies of the hormones, or what exactly are the frequencies?
Yeah, absolutely. So the frequencies are the three, I've chosen three very specific hormones after I experimented with lots of different ones, and I found that the combination of these three hormones together and then really targeting them towards the trauma works. That's what, is happening basically. And so those feelings that are really hard for people to feel when they're in the thick of it, they're going and being targeted right to where the trauma is. And that creates, enough of an energetic change that the healing can start to happen in the nervous system. And then together with that, you've got the frequencies that I've encoded in there to bring that message of safety. I am safe back into the entire system. Now, one of the most common ways that the nervous system starts to reset itself, one of the ways that people know it's happening, is they yawn.
Oh, and so many people said that.
That's a very, very common nervous system response. As a lot of energy starts to release, and as your system is getting the message of come out of fight or flight, you are safe, well, you're like, okay, I can relax, I can let go. And then you're like, okay, I can yawn, I can let the tiredness be felt. I don't need to be kind of up like that. And so the yawning is a very, very common way of experiencing the shifts.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Okay, so a couple questions here then. Hania asked, how does it work for people who have ongoing trauma? And then Bobby asked earlier and still asked, what about PTSD? Or, I know Bobby struggles with getting in her body. So, like those kind of things, like, can you talk to both of those?
Absolutely. So yes, just to also answer, if you didn't yawn, that's absolutely fine. It's not you must yawn. I was just kind of explaining why a lot of people yawned. And if you would have got a deep sigh or just a release breath, then all of those things are signs that your nervous system is having a shift. So PTSD, yes, it's amazing for that. And PTSD really, really tilts the senses. People I've worked with quite a few people with PTSD, and actually I really want to speak about this in a little bit of depth, if that's okay.
Yeah, please do.
So when you have a higher frequency and somebody is either in the storm, which was the other question, what do you do if you're still in the storm? So there's that. And then there's what if you've just been in the storm and you're in PTSD and those oversensitivities are so high that your system doesn't know that it can come out of it. Now, one thing that can be quite common is you will experience, some people experience, if they've got really, really big PTSD symptoms, they'll enjoy the healing session and it will be like this wonderful kind of feeling of peace. And at first, what's quite common is they don't trust the feeling of peace because they are on so much of a high alert that they are looking like subconsciously or even consciously of, okay, this is nice now, but I know something is going to come along in a second. So I can't trust this feeling. I've got to be on the lookout for where the next disruptor is, you know? And so that's why I brought in the VIP package, which is permissioning. And I want to talk about how this links in, because regardless, I think this is really helpful to understand. So you understand your own reactions sometimes to things. So this I've seen in healing as well. For example, just want to give you a story so you can get the context. I had one lady, Megan, who had trigeminal neuralgia, and she had it so badly. Her pain was so high that she was on the highest dose of morphine legally possible to have administered. And she was on it she had this for 2 years and just couldn't get the pain down. And when she came to me, she was in a real state. Now we got her just through traditional healing, energy healing that I was sending her. I helped her to get her pain from a 10 to a 0 in one session. And she was like, oh, this is amazing. And first thing she said to me at the end was, is this going to last? You know, the age-old question. And I said, well, let's see what happens. The following week, she said to me it lasted 24 hours and then it jumped back up. And I said, okay, so let's do this again, see what happens. We got her down to 0. And again, 48 hours later, her pain's back up. On the third session, I said to her, you're clearly capable of going to 0, but your mind is so used to the pain. Your nervous system you're so used to the old way, you're not trusting the peace. Your system is seeking out, actively searching for the pain. You are looking for the pain because what's happened is you are so used to the pain that is your normal. You trust the pain more than you trust peace because at least you know where you are with the pain. Isn't that fascinating? We end up trusting, right? There's so many like metaphors. You know, have you ever heard better the devil you know and the devil you don't? It's that. Yeah. And sometimes when we get a peaceful feeling, it's like even more alarming if you've got PTSD because you're like, well, this feels even weirder. I'm not used to this feeling of peace. So I'd rather call the pain back in. At least I know where I am with that. And at least I know that I'm on alert. It's the weirdest thing, but that's how the mind works.
So much sense because that peaceful feeling is probably what you had before the trauma happened, right? Like, so you had that peaceful feeling before the trauma happened, then the trauma happened. And then, so that makes perfect sense. I mean, it's amazing what our minds do to protect us, right? So that makes just so much sense. So how did you help her?
So much, right. So I said, so this is what's happening. Your pathways are so strong on the pain level. You've walked that path so many times. You trust that path more than you now trust the peace because at least you're not, the issue she was having subconsciously is she's scared to trust the peace because she thinks it's going to be interrupted. It's not going to last. I don't want to get used to it,
Yeah.
So I taught her, and now I said, you need something you can use in between our sessions because the week gap that we're having in that 7 days, you're reverting. I'm going to teach you permissioning. And I taught her permissioning. Now, some of you, I think, already know permissioning. I work with it slightly, in different ways. And permissioning was created by Kaylee, who I believe some of you also know. And he actually taught me permissioning when I was like 9 months pregnant, and it was I was like giving permissioning as he was teaching me. I'm giving permissioning to my unborn baby. I was thinking I'd like to be a baby receiving permissioning before I come out into the world. Anyway, so I taught her permissioning in the way that I use it specifically, and I said, you need to do this yourself in between our sessions so that you can stabilize this frequency. And the key words here are stabilize. How do you stabilize the healing so that you start to trust it as being a new state of being that can be permanent? And so 3 weeks later, she sends me a message and she's like, I did it. I got it. I got it. I have regulated this. I have stabilized this. And she said, and you know what else? Now, like, the pain is gone. I'm not calling it back in. I'm also feeling joy for the first time in 20 years.
Oh my goodness.
She said, I didn't even realize the state I was in. And so I thought, and I've done this again and again and again with people in where I can see, okay, they can attain the healing state. They can absorb the frequencies, but they're so out their body, they're not able to hold them, and they're not able to stabilize this state in a grounded way, feeling safe and coming back in. Permissioning bridges the gap for that. And I've seen it time and time again. And not only have I seen it for anxiety and things like that, and nervous system, but I've seen how it translates physically as well. So that is the kind of, for people that's really suited for people that have had issues a very long time and need more, feel like, okay, the floor beneath me feels pretty unbalanced. Permissioning is really, really good at in and creating that stable floor. And so that also is something that I love guiding people through over a matter of like a month, or it needs the consistency. It needs the stability. It needs the continuity. And so for me, dream package. I've spoken to Kay about this so many times. I have wanted to do this in a permissioning way to add on to what I already do with the nervous system frequencies, in a way that the way I would talk about it with him is, I want to do it in a handheld way so that it's, over a few weeks and people can deeply stabilize this and really integrate it. And so I'm very excited about this package. It's something I've, really, really wanted to share for a long time, because often the kind of very, the high frequency states, which are mind-blowingly beneficial, if someone is that out of their body, they don't stabilize them, And so that's why I thought, okay, let's bring the VIP package in and put it for people who literally feel like that. And I can give you, I have so many stories that have blown my mind. I'd love to share a couple if that's all right.
Please do.
Okay, so a couple of them I find exciting, specifically because we were able to measure them medically, which is so fun. It's super fun. So one lady was scheduled for a surgery, and her high blood pressure was so high that they couldn't do the surgery. And they said, okay, go home with these medications and then come back, because the meds are going to lower your blood pressure, then we can do your surgery. She really wanted the surgery. The meds didn't help. They could not get her blood pressure down for anything. And that's when she got in touch with me, and she said, can you help me with this? I feel so dysregulated that, I'm all over the place. I taught her permissioning, and I said, you've got to do this 3 times a day. If it's, for most people, you don't need to do it 3 times a day, but she had this surgery plan, she had like a deadline kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
And I said, okay, do it 3 times a day. And I taught her, and you know what happened? Her blood pressure completely went back into full balance with the permissioning. Patients couldn't do it. And saw the immediate link between nervous system, being in the body, feeling safe, because I worked with her on the feeling safe bit as well, using permissioning, and it was translated into her blood pressure reading. Then I had another lady, weirdly also blood pressure, but this is interesting. She was on her 8th pregnancy. Now, Kay and I laugh because I have worked with a lot of women who are part of a faith community that have lots of babies. Okay, and what happened was,
I wonder who that is.
Right. So what happened is I had one client and she was overdue, and we had a permissioning session, and she had an unbelievably incredible birth. And then so she told the whole community about me and about this permissioning. And suddenly I had no idea, you know, it wasn't anything planned, but suddenly I had all these women contacting me saying, can you help me with my birth? And I'm overdue, or the baby's breech, and all of this kind of stuff. And I'm like suddenly in the midst of multiple pregnant women, helping them. I was like, okay, yeah. And it's amazing to do that, because there is no truer test of a technique than working with somebody who's pregnant or in labor. You know, it's very, it's a real deal of a moment for someone. And anyway, this was like her 8th birth. And she had had blood pressure through every single pregnancy. So now she's got health anxiety, which I think a lot of people can relate, right? A lot of people can relate to that. So she's now got health anxiety about what happens if she gets high blood pressure in her pregnancy. And that's causing her to have high blood pressure. And she's in this cycle. So we do the normal, the healing, and I'm working kind of in an HUS way with her, with the frequencies and the nervous system. We calm her right down, which is great, until she's on her way in a London black cab on her way to the hospital. And she phones me from the taxi, and she's like, the thought of going into that building is so triggering for me that my peace levels have just gone, help, you know. And I said to her, Kate, I'm going to talk you through something over the phone. And I talked her through some permissioning. And that way, when you're in the waiting room, try to remember what I teach you. You do it yourself in the waiting room as well. So she's like listening, and the cab driver's listening. It was a very bizarre situation. And we've got her stress levels right down. And she goes into the midwife, and the midwife measures her blood pressure. And just the sight of the midwife and the blood pressure sends her up again. And she says, the reading is a little bit, it's not overly high, but it's still a little bit high. And she says to the midwife, I've just learned these techniques. Would you mind, like, can I just have a few minutes? So the midwife's watching her do commissioning, and it's like, okay. And then she says, will you remeasure me now? And she remeasures her, and her blood pressure is completely normal. And she said, showed me afterwards, she says, this is my 8th pregnancy. I have never had a normal blood pressure reading ever. This, you know, the whole thing is reframed for me now. And I can see the link between my nervous system and my physical symptoms, my autonomic functions. And I've had story after story. And so I know that this goes a lot deeper than we give it credit for. And it's the switch. And that's why I kind of call this a switch, because it's the switch from I am safe. When she saw the hospital, she felt unsafe. Yeah. And there are triggers that are different for all of us. And so having the ability to say, I am now going to switch from feeling unsafe to safe, literally re-regulates the nervous system. And so that's why I wanted you to have a tool to do it. You know, what if you're out and about and you don't have the audios or whatever? It's something you can have a tool for life with. Now, it is, I think I saw somebody ask the question about, is it different? It is it's a different package to what you might have done. You know, if you've experienced commissioning before, this is going to be a completely unique package. And it's definitely something that I feel is really, really invaluable as an add-on, if you can.
Yeah, so there's a package A and B. You guys can see I put the link here as we work through one-on-ones. You can take a look because Karina, I'm sure, will give recommendations as she works with you guys. But I guess my question is, so you talk so much about coming into the body and being in our body. I have two questions actually. The first is, how do you know you're not in your body? How do we know we're not in our body? And two, um, does do the frequencies help with bringing you back into your body, or is that only the permissioning piece? Like, can you clarify if package A helps with that too, and package B is more for PTSD or other kind of really, the pain that you've had for 20 some years, those kind of things, if you can clarify those.
Okay. Can you hear my puppy?
I can't. No, I knew when I saw the mute though. I'm like, I bet the dog's barking.
He's come in and started bouncing around. So I heard most of what you said, but if I miss anything out, you could just remind me. Okay, so if you're in your body, if you're out of your body because it's very tiring. That's the first sign. Do you feel very tired? When you are in your body, you move faster, not in a rushed way, but you just have more fluidity to the way you move. You're very present. When you're out your body, it's like you're kind of spaced out. You're disassociated. You feel tired. You feel less energy. You also don't retain a lot of information. And sometimes people, when they have a shock or a trauma, they just jump out. It takes ages to come back in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So how do you know? And it doesn't have to be PTSD. It can be, just general stress. People are chronically stressed are often just a little bit hovering out the body. You see it a lot with kids as well. You can tell when they're out their body from the screens, and it's the same adults on on screens as well. Yeah. So will the frequencies and the audios bring you back into your body? They will put you into a state of feeling like you are in a bubble bath of deep relaxation and love and safety, as if you are being cocooned in a safety blanket that makes you feel very, very loved and grounded, and brings a lot of that grounding safety feeling into your nervous system. And what the permissioning does is gives you a tool to really stabilize that and start self-trusting peace. It's very powerful when you start self-inducing that for you. So, but a lot of people will not necessarily yet be ready for that. And the audios really build the foundation for that, because if someone's had so much stress, sometimes it's nice. It's like when I say to a client, you want me to teach you some permissioning, or do you want to just kick back and receive the healing? And as much as they want to learn the permissioning, they're not yet ready. They need a few sessions first to just be and have someone else do generate the kind of energy, and they just want to kick back and receive and feel those blissed out feelings. And so the audios are going to bring that to you. And once you've got that baseline going, okay, now let's teach you how to stabilize that. And we're going to walk through that week by week. And that training alone, having that kind of doing it together, it's going to be very powerful. I had a lady who had a complete nervous breakdown, and somebody recommended to her, said, get in touch with Karina and learn some permissioning. And she had 5 kids, and she couldn't get out of bed. And that's a big problem when you have 5 kids who are all depending on you. And she literally she said to me, I feel broken. I can't even get out of bed. That was the level. And I said to her, okay, so I guided her through an hour of permissioning. And at the end, she started laughing. Now, laughing is a very common reaction I have found with people when they drop out of the spiral. Often people just have a minute. It's like they're almost laughing at the fact that they believed their own hype it's like a reaction of when they come back into the body. Not that different to yawning, but they see a funny side to it. So she starts laughing. Do you get it? Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
So she starts laughing, and we had a little giggle together. And then she says to me, I'm really scared now. The fears come back up. I said, why? She said, because I feel so good. I can't explain it. Why do I feel scared? I feel so good that now, she said, oh, I know what it is. It feels so foreign to me that it's scary. This is scary to me. It's so foreign, it's scary. And she said, I can't even explain it. I know it's not logical. And I said to her, I know, and that's a completely normal response. I want you to know that is normal. But you know what we're going to do? Like, no different to riding a bike. Let's get back on the bike. It's that simple. It's like, it's a retraining. We're rewiring you. It's like you've gone into a field to walk the dog, and there's a path that's been trodden by the other dog walkers. So you're just walking that path because that's where it looks clear, right? That's your stress. We're going to make a new path. And it will feel a little bit uncomfortable because the grass is really tall, but we're just going to keep going until that path is formed. And so we did, and she fell off, and she got back on, and she fell off, and she get back on, until a few weeks later, she said to me, this feels like, genuinely, she said, I'm not being dramatic, I feel like my life was just saved. I don't know how, and she said one of the most important things for her was hearing that it's normal to go through that process of not necessarily trusting the peace.
Wow.
And there's a tipping point. There's a tipping point where at some point your mind gives up and it says, okay, let's go the new way then, not give up on the, all right, you're not giving up on this, are you? All right, we'll do that. And then you've got this tipping point, and you just start to, that becomes the stronger pathway. Permission is very, very good at that. Excellent at it, in fact. And so that on top of the audios are first, let's just give you the space to receive the frequencies. You don't need to do any work at that point. You're just receiving. And then let's empower you with a tool to stabilize a healing state. And I'm honored. Honestly, I feel very, very honored to facilitate this because it's a big deal. The nervous system is a very, very big deal. It's underrated.
Well, not anymore after today. I'm like, whoa, I'm seeing a lot of what you're talking about in myself. So this is really fabulous. So I would love to start talking to callers. You good with that?
Let's do it. Definitely.
All right. And what do you need from them? What are you doing? And all that good stuff.
You know what? It would be really helpful and I think it'd be helpful for you just to see where your own level is. Where's your own baseline? If you give me a number out of 10, if 10 is the most wound up and stressed, where does your nervous system feel? What number out of 10 is it, from 0 to 10? And then I'm gonna just target some frequencies at you, and we can see before and after, so you can feel for yourself. What does it feel like to have the needle on the record moved completely?
Okay, cool. Sounds fun. All right. Marilyn, you are up first.
Hello,
Hi,
Katrina, Gretchen.
Hi.
So I have two numbers. One, in terms of stress, I think I'm only a 2 or 3, but my adrenals, particularly in the afternoon, even hurt, even though I do healing and supplements. I would say they're like a 7 or 8. So I have to lay down at 2 or 3 o'clock. And so I don't know if what you're talking about has to do with maybe the adrenals have gotten stuck in a particular pattern so like I said, I have 2 numbers, even though I don't feel stress. I think I'm grounded.
Okay. Well, let's focus on the adrenals. I'm going to just use the HUS frequencies to go straight to your adrenals. And you said that was a 7?
Yes.
Okay. It feels like it just connected there. How's that feeling?
I feel it more in my head for some reason, but then going to the adrenals, but it feels like a cool, not cold, but kind of a cool energy. So maybe it's calming something down, for example. I don't know. I don't feel my adrenals hurting, but it is more the morning. Uh, I'll check it this afternoon. So did you see any type of pattern like what you were talking about with the nervous system turned on and not feeling safe, or is it something else?
Oh, it's always not feeling safe. That applies to everybody.
Oh, okay. And
It's
so,
always an aspect. And sorry, go ahead.
well, I was just seeing if the first package is sufficient for me, or if you think I need permissioning. Since I don't really have any stress in my body, then I'm aware, like I said, it could be a pattern that's stuck there.
Bear with me. Let me check. Oh, your system likes the permissioning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I suddenly
okay.
felt a lot of alertness coming in. So even though you don't have a lot of chronic stress, which is amazing, you will respond very well to getting both.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much.
Awesome.
You're so welcome.
Thanks, Marilyn. And just so you guys know, there are 2 and 3 payment plans for package A and B. And as always, you can always start with A and upgrade to B when you're ready as well. And there was a question I was going to ask you. Oh, Elizabeth wrote in, which this is a great question. So what if we need to be on alert because we're not really in a safe situation? Would it be good to tell ourselves that we are safe?
Yeah, because you can be on alert whilst being grounded. You really see the difference. For example, let's take somebody who works in the emergency room. They need to be on alert all the time. They need to be very, very on their game. But you will always see the difference between someone who's alert in a job or a situation that they need to be fully focused, but when you're in your body and you feel safe doing it, it is a completely different way of interacting. And so what the program does, both the audios and then the permissioning, is it gives your brain and your mind a way to interact with whatever it is that you're engaging with in a new way. So it's not to say you're taking your eye off the ball. Your eye's very on the ball, but you can have your eye on the ball whilst feeling safe, grounded, and in your body. And then the decisions we make are made not from a place of panic, but from a very stable place. So definitely worthwhile, even if you are in the midst of something chaotic.
That makes more sense. So you're more grounded in your decision making and the actions you're taking just in general.
Definitely. I've seen a really mind-blowing example of that. I don't know if you want to hear it or if you want to take a caller.
But go ahead, tell us.
Okay. So I'm so passionate about these stories. So I had one client who came on a permissioning workshop with me, and then a year later I go back for a follow-up workshop, and she said to me, I've been meaning to get in touch with you, but I just need to share with you. She had been diagnosed with something. I cannot remember the medical name of it, but in essence, what happened to her is she had her lungs filled with fluid, which obviously can be very, very, very serious. And she'd been taken into hospital, and she'd had the fluid drained, and she'd gone back home. And it happened a couple of times. And then she came on the workshop, and I taught her the techniques. And there was one point where she felt it was happening to her way after the workshop. And she said, I had this intuition. I remembered what you said about nervous system, and I started to do commissioning. And she said, what happened was so mind-blowing to myself and my husband. She said, it stopped my blood pressure going up, and the blood pressure going up was the precursor to the lungs filling up. And because I was able to keep my nervous system balanced, the domino never happened. The blood pressure never went up, and then the lungs never did that, and this didn't do that. And she said, and we put down the phone and we called back the ambulance and said, you're not needed. And she said, I have used this to stop this has stopped me going to hospital multiple times. I was so blown away by that, really blown away, because that's an example of in the storm, in the chaos, like moment by moment, it could go in any direction. And all she's focused on is simply approaching it from a level of safety and peacefulness. And that has had an immediate effect on the physical symptoms, and then the domino effect of that. That blew me away. Like,
Yeah, that's amazing.
really, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And Lisbeth, I hope that helped you as well. So, wow. All right, let's move on. Michelle is up next.
Hello, Karina and Gretchen.
Hello, welcome.
Hi,
Thank you for
Michelle.
coming. Thank you. Well, I think I'm a 10 on 10 on stress to the bone, so I don't know what to do anymore. And I'm just getting a very, what's the word, worry about my situation. So I just want to know what you can help me with and how I can get help with the
Okay,
system.
so I'm just gonna dive in, and you said you're 10 out of 10. I'm gonna dive in and just bathe your nervous system in the HUS frequencies, because this is a great example of somebody who's in a 10 out of 10. Sometimes you're not yet in that state to learn something new. So let's just get your baseline up. So if you're ready, you can just kick back and receive. Yeah, I can feel that. It feels inflamed. I can feel particularly on the left side. So let's just bring in those frequencies. You're going to feel a difference in a few moments. You feel that? Michelle, how are you doing?
Well, I can't, it's amazing. I finally felt something because each time everybody's feeling so good, I'm saying, what about me? What about feeling anything? And I finally felt it, and I'm still feeling it. And dear God, I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. So Michelle, you say you usually don't feel and you felt that? Is that what I heard?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
definitely.
yeah. Oh, I'm so happy for you.
Yes.
Very, very good. How you doing? What's your number now?
Uh, it's hard to say, really. It's still going. Uh, all I know is like I felt something's going to happen. I'm going to feel better, so that's great.
Awesome.
Um, yeah,
You can keep
I
us
had a
posted because I'm
and I had
sure,
a question. Sorry.
yeah, keep us posted at how where it goes to by the end of the call. Because I
Yeah,
can see Karina's still sending you energy, so I can see it happening. So keep us posted how it goes.
really. Thank you. Thank you.
Karina, anything else you want to say to Michelle?
Yeah, it was like somebody turned down the dial
Yeah.
for you
Yes.
and feeling your whole system go. It was like I felt your entire body go, you
Oh,
know.
Yeah, feeling about the body. I feel it all in my body, to my feet, everywhere, absolutely everywhere, which is amazing. It's starting to feel better, like it's like a 5 maybe. Yeah. Right
nice.
now.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
When
Nice.
was the last time you were at a 5, Michelle?
Oh, 20 years. It's been
Oh
20
my
years
goodness.
of hell we've been going through. So I'm still not, and I'm still in it, and I don't know how to get out of it as I'm getting older. So just it's been hell. So it's just like, thank you, thank you. I hope this is gonna help me and work for me, and I need to move on, move on, move on, definitely. Yeah.
Wow. Well, if you can get to a 10 to a 5, you know your system is more than capable of shifting. Really
Yeah.
is. I would be absolutely honored, to help guide you. Really.
Thank you.
Awesome.
The,
Good
the-
job,
my,
Michelle.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
You're
Very
very
well.
welcome. Love it. Really good. All right, Catherine, you're up next. You there, Catherine? There you are.
Yes, I am. Thank you. Um, you both know my situation, and Jim passed away in November, but I'm still having a lot of cognitive and physical issues recovering from the trauma of taking care of him for 18 months and the aftermath of losing him and now being on my own and trying to figure out how to regain my sovereignty. So, I know this program is going to help me, and I've been doing all of your work and a lot of work with Kay and Virginia and Joe and some of the other wonderful healers. But this may be the key. So I would really appreciate it if you take a look and see what you could recommend.
Thank you, Catherine. And it's so great to connect to you. And before I start, I just really wanted to say, I truly, truly witness you. And I think you're amazing. I know, we've been in touch at different points, and where you are in your path and everything that you're doing to take one step and another step, and the way that you have honored your process. I truly see you. I truly witness you. And I just wanted to say that to you. So let's have a look. But there's a huge amount of love that I'm sending to you. Huge. Thank you.
Thank you, and I love you so much as well. You have supported me so, so greatly, as have you, Gretchen.
It's an honor, honestly. Let's have a look. Okay. The message that's coming through very clearly for you is you are held. You are so held. How's that feeling happening?
It's very emotional, and it feels like a warm blanket, a soft, warm blanket of love surrounding me. It's just the safety issue has been really difficult because Jim and I were together for 40 years, which is more than half my life. And now I realized that I had given up so much of my independence and sovereignty while we were together. So safety is a huge issue as I get back on my feet. And I truly appreciate all that you're doing. It's like you and Kay and some of the others are coming up with exactly what I think I need at this time in my life to recover. And it is so, it's like the universe is just guiding me to the right people to help me. And I really, really appreciate you.
Wow, I really appreciate you too. And it's an honor, it's a privilege to help you and to hold that space. And I'm so thankful that you felt that as warmth. And the other thing that I really feel called to say is there will be other people listening to this that really deeply resonate with what you're saying and will be so grateful to you for being a voice for what they may have experienced too. Because I think what I've seen deeply is it's not something talked about that often. The impact that caring for somebody has on the person doing it and what that does to the nervous system. And then the safety feeling and the whole, it's a huge, huge, huge move, transformation in someone's life. And to have energetic support through that, I think is incredibly important to be able to restore a foundation beneath your feet. And I think you're speaking for probably quite a few people who may not have been able to speak up. And you're very brave to do that, really brave. I don't have enough words to tell you how much I really, truly respect and honor the way you're caring for yourself with this work and everything that you've been through. And I'm honored to help walk some of that path with you.
Well, I so appreciate you. My functional neurologist said that if he didn't know my situation, he would have thought I had been in a traumatic brain situation from an automobile crash or from a head injury. And it's so interesting that the physical trauma to the brain causes these neurological symptoms that you're now addressing with the switch. This is brilliant. And I do feel that part of my path in this world is to speak for other people who can't speak up. So maybe this trauma that I'm going through was predestined to be part of the work that I do in healing the world.
I think very much so, because it's another thing that isn't spoken about enough, is the impact that grief has on the brain. And luckily we know that we know about neuroplasticity, and we on this call, we're very blessed because we know about energy healing, and we know about how things can transform. But the safety feeling is at the core of all of it. It's what's kind of underneath it, is just feeling safe again. So I truly trust in your process, and I know that when you feel right and when the time is right, the way you will be able to guide other people and be able to say to them, I did it and so can you, will be hugely, hugely helpful for a lot of people.
And the start is to come in with the VIP program. Anybody that can afford it, please do it, because I know Karina's work and I know the power behind the energies that she is directing, and I am absolutely positive that this is divinely guided work.
Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. So much love to you.
Thank you, Karina and Gresham.
Catherine, thank you so much for being here. And you have some comments in the chat, so for you. So please read those and know that we as a community are always thinking about you, Catherine, and sending you so much love.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So I would like to talk about the program now that we're 90 minutes in. Sorry. It was just a very fascinating topic, and I had so many questions today. So let me share my screen. I know you talked a lot about it already, but I would like to really focus on the MP3s, what they are, and the group sessions and all that good stuff. So here you guys go. This is your healing up level switch. So this is a healing up level switch. Reprogram the healing set point hidden in your nervous system and thrive at every age. So you guys can go to this page. It's lifereawakened.com/Karina25, or you can click on the link, copy and paste, or it will be in the replay email as well. But I'll let you guys read through all of this. What I really want to talk about here is, oops, I forgot to change that countdown timer. I changed the other ones, but not that one. I want to talk about the MP3s, what's included in this program. So we have package A, and there's, as you can see, a 2 payment and a 3 pay. So Karina, I'll let it go over to you now.
Okay, so, I just got a bit of feedback. Everybody hopefully can hear me. Okay, so we've got, so we've got the MP3s, and what I've done is I've included things that are the most common things I have seen with the people that I have worked with for nervous system, which is a lot of people. So we've got sensory overload. This is a really common thing that people tend to experience after a trauma. Something as simple as going into a shopping center that's busy with bright lights can feel very overwhelming. Sensory overload, just rebalancing the senses, basically, not being hypervigilant, but resetting that so that you can restore peace around lights and sounds and crowds and things like that. Then we've got transforming reactive patterns. So taking emotional volatility, that we talked about this, those overreactions to small things, and our irritability harmonizer, which is always beneficial, isn't it? Building emotional resilience. So that audio takes care of that, and getting a stable mood baseline. Then we've got overall life quality maximizer. So increasing daily joy, simple as feeling satisfied, motivated, enthusiastic. Cognitive overload and mental burnout shield. So people often feel after chronic stress, brain fog, lack of clarity. So this audio is to support that and help you make decisions in a much clearer way, have a clearer mindset. We've got our hormonal balance activator. Everybody always likes that frequency, so it's needed, especially with so many disruptors, hormonal disruptors in the world. I think it's always well worthwhile keeping on top of that. Transforming chronic fatigue. Now, one of the things after a shock and a trauma and chronic stress that is a very common symptom is tiredness. People feel very tired. So let's just bring in the energy to support and sustain higher energy levels and more cellular vitality. We've also got metabolic balance, because the gut gets very affected when the nervous system is out. Digestive peace, feeling peace in the digestive system. Pain sensitivity modulator. When we are chronically stressed, we experience pain more. So let's bring harmony to that. Cardiovascular harmony, of course. Autoimmune, inflammatory. You'd be amazed at the connection between nervous system and the inflammatory response. But then again, if you look at the word inflammatory, you know, inflammatory emotions, inflammatory in the body. So it kind of makes perfect sense. Skin health, so supporting rejuvenation and cellular renewal and vibrant appearance. And then we've got taking it into the emotional freedom framework, which is, and this is really important, social connection. Sometimes after trauma or chronic stress, we can feel disconnected from people and just no motivation to go socialize. And let's bring that back. Let's release isolation patterns and bring back the desire to feel comfortable enough in ourselves to connect and build confidence in relationships. Increasing our memory and our mental clarity. So always beneficial regardless. And this next one's interesting. And I wonder if people can relate to this. Temperature regulation harmonizer. When the nervous system is very impacted, there's a part of the brain that regulates body temperature that can also often just go haywire. And people can get chills a lot, like suddenly really cold or really hot, and just complete irregular body temperature. So let's bring baseline stability back to that, strengthening our immune system and releasing muscle tension, that tightness from holding so much stress. So the audios, I felt all of those things were very, very core symptoms that people experience when the nervous system is dysregulated. So they will support that. And you'll feel the HUS, the healing up-level switch frequencies that you felt on this call, just to come in and literally like wrap you with that blanket of energy and hug you and give you that feeling of safety, which basically repatterns your nervous system. And then we are going to go into...
I have a question. Karina, I have a question.
Yes. Sure.
Do you recommend, because a lot of people probably on this call or that are listening, you know, have participated in your other programs. Do you recommend them going through these 17 audios or, you know, whatever ones that you know, that resonate with them, and then going back to other programs to heal even more with those?
100%. 100%. What an amazing question. This is going to put the floor beneath you.
Okay.
And then every step you take in any direction is going to feel much more stable and grounded. So yes, 100%, a million percent.
Okay,
Definitely.
good. Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, now on to the 4 group sessions.
Okay. So I talked about the combination, the unique combination that I'm working with of the frequencies of the oxytocin and the GABA and the serotonin, plus that feeling of safety coming together. And I love, and those of you that we've shared calls with, you know how amazing those collective calls are and the frequency. And I just wanted you to be able to sit back, kick back and bathe in it, you know, live on the call or on the replay. And so we are going to use those frequencies specifically to rebalance the vital networks, the brain, the spinal cord, the vagus nerve, because like you just heard Catherine say, the impact on the brain is really, really immense. So let's bring those frequencies back. Let's get that energy flowing back again. And we're going to work with gut health and gut-brain communication. The two they are synergistic. They go hand in hand. And we're going to have a whole, oh, and we're also going to work with adrenals and hormones. Absolutely. Would always include that. And we're going to have a whole call on feeling safe, a whole call dedicated to that trust, that surrender, that letting go, not just on a mind level. I spoke about this before. For me, this is beyond the mind. It's a spiritual thing. It's the ability to trust. It's, that switch takes place right the way through the mind, body, and spirit. So we're going to have a whole call on that. And I anticipate that being huge, really huge. You've got the container, and I love the container support. I'm a big fan of just that, walking around with that, energetic container around you to support you through the program. And then for those of you that want to carry on, and I'm going to say, if you can, for those of you that can carry on to the VIP package, if you can do, it will be a tool that you use forever. It really is a lifelong tool. I say that with full confidence. I still have people messaging me years after teaching them, years, literally saying, just wanted to let you know I used this then, and things like that. So, okay, we are going to have a call, permission to release stored trauma and stress. We're going to have permission to feel safe and supported. Again, we're going to go deeper into that because that's key and it's core. Permission to trust, adapt, and rewire the nervous system. Permission to sustain healing and expand into higher possibilities. So very, very deep, and I'm going to guide you through it, and you're going to have the replay, and I highly recommend you listen to that replay. People often say to me, how long, how many times? If you did that every other day throughout the month, you won't recognize yourself at the end of the month.
Wow.
You will just feel like a much brighter, shinier version of yourself on a day-to-day level, just on a day-to-day, just on how I interact with the moment of the day. So I do recommend it. But again, I would have never done this the other way around. The permissioning comes after, because if you are in the thick of it, or you believe you still are in, even if you're not, the audios are going to settle you down and give you that. A lot of people spoke about warm blanket feeling. And sometimes you just need that first. You just want to lay back and listen to audios and feel like you are wrapped in a blanket. And the combination of those three hormones and that feeling of safety means you will come into the permissioning more regulated by far. By far.
Awesome. And the part that I absolutely love about this is something you take with you. You learn, you become empowered, and you have this tool in your pocket whenever you need it, and it's you. So I just think that's so powerful.
Yeah, it's really powerful.
Yep. And then you have a bonus, fast acting bonus that lasts, it's up this week till Sunday. So you have an extra 30 days remote healing in there. So right now, when you join before Sunday, you get 60 days total. And then you also have an MP3 bundle, Magnetic Frequencies of Love and Euphoria. Can you tell us what those are?
Yes. Being bathed in love and euphoria, and just in those blissful energies. And the word magnetic is the key, because when you emit those frequencies, you draw them to you. As we all know, we all follow the law of attraction for years. If you're on a collective like this, I know you already know this, but we are magnets, essentially. We are literally magnets. And one of the audios is wanting to go out, meet people, or even if it's not to go out, but just to be part of a community and a collective, or even just meet a friend or call a friend, having that desire again. So that goes hand in hand with this, because having magnetic frequency of love and euphoria means that anyone around you benefits from that. And then you start to connect with those, like somebody who's on that vibration, because we connect with people like attracts like, and we are drawn to people who are like on the same vibration. So if we are holding love and euphoria through our being, then that is what we are going to end up calling into ourselves in the form of other human beings as well and experiences. So I thought that was important.
Awesome. Thank you for including that. That's awesome. All right, guys. So the offer with the bonus and the price point is available till Sunday. So you can check that all out there. There are 2 and 3 payment options, as well as if you want to start with package A, you can upgrade later to package B. So it's entirely up to you. You can just email us at support and we can help you with that upgrade. All righty. So I'm going to post the link here one more time so you guys have it. And then let me just check here. I know we're really late here, so
Yeah, that's my fault, because this is a topic I can go on and on and on and on.
oh, okay. So yeah. So, I mean, I know you, and I love how passionate you are about this topic, because I know this is one that you're very excited to bring to us, and I appreciate that. So we are out of time because we were like 20 minutes over of what we should. But the good news is Karina's coming back tomorrow. So she's coming back tomorrow to be with you guys to do one-on-ones. Have an hour with her to really go through that. Let me just check the time because it's at a special time. So I want you guys all to have it. And I don't have it in front of me. So let me just look. So that is at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So that is actually like an hour from now is when it would start. So an hour from right now is when we would be starting that call. Is that right, Karina?
It is, yeah.
Okay, great. So you guys can join us tomorrow. We'll have a lot more time, but I really wanted today for everybody to understand the importance of this, including myself, understand the nervous system and what it really, that foundation piece is just, it just all really came together and made so much sense for me today. And those of you that Karina worked with, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing that, because we all benefited from that. And Karina, your process was absolutely amazing. Catherine saying feeling more peaceful and safe. So that's absolutely awesome. Catherine, thank you for sharing that. And Karina, thank you for being here. Thank you for all that you do. You're always bringing just such powerful things to our community. As Catherine says, you know, when you gravitate towards those the people that are really supporting you, and you have that support and you have that foundation around you, it changes everything. So I encourage you guys, if you haven't worked with Karina, this program really sounds like the foundation. It will amplify everything else that you're doing out there, because it really gives you that floor. And I loved that description of you have pretty paintings everywhere, but you still stumble because your floor is going like this. So that makes so much sense. So thank you, Karina, for bringing this to us. Is there anything you want to share before we end the call?
No, just to say thank you for having me, and thank you, Gretchen, for all that, the way you hold the space brings the joy and the best out of me, and the same for the whole community. So thank you. And yeah, just very, very, very grateful for all that you do as well. So thank you all. And I'll be honored to facilitate this for anybody that this resonates with, truly.
Awesome. Love it. All right. You guys are already doing it, but let's show Karina our love and gratitude and our thanks for her being here and sharing this space with us today. Look at that. I love that. Oh, thank you, Karina. And we'll see you tomorrow. And Karina, we'll see you tomorrow too.
Take
Awesome.
care, everybody. Love you.
All right, everyone. See you later. Bye. Have a great day.
The information, products, and claims presented in this video and on any related websites or materials have not been evaluated by any official regulatory body. They are intended for informational and educational purposes only and are not meant to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your health or wellness routine.